Has Matthew Stafford lost a step? Before we get into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let's dive in. So you guys can follow me at JK Bogan as always on social media. Matthew Stafford, really interesting dialogue following that game. I don't think people are talking about how incredible his performance was in the fourth quarter, the throws he had to make. And I feel like this is just a constant. Do we take Stafford for granted? I think so. Just as a football audience, what he's able to do on a down in, down out basis is so impressive. And just considering the fact he got absolutely decked in the sternum, probably would have broken most quarterbacks' ribs, and who knows about him, but he just stays in there and he elevates his game in the fourth quarter. The reason I bring this up is because I feel like this is asked more than it needs to be. Is Matthew Stafford, has he lost a step? Is it the beginning of the end? You know, and for me, I watch him, you know, I hear always he's washed. I want a new quarterback. He's 35, guys. He's not 39, you know, he's not 40, he's not 46. He's 35. I understand he has the injuries, but the way he's throwing the ball and he threw it, you know, yesterday, you don't move on from a guy like that. But furthermore, I want to break this down because he's played 9 games this year. That means I think it's fair to go in, take the 9 games from 2022 that he played, and take the 9 games from 2021 that he played, and, you know, put it all together. So the first 9 games of 2021, because he played the entire season, he had a 68.2 completion percentage, 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 2,771 yards, 111 passer rating, 16 big-time throws, 9 turnover-worthy plays, 8.5 average depth of target, 16 drops, 12 sacks. Pretty good start to the season, I would say. In 2022, keep in mind the injuries on the offensive line, just nothing going, you know, the right way. 68 completion percentage, 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 2,087 yards, 87.4 passer rating, 15 big-time throws, 12 turnover-worthy plays, a 7 average depth of target, 9 drops, and 29 sacks. And then 2023, this year, 59.2 completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 2,260 passing yards, 80.8 passer rating, 7 turnover-worthy plays, 20 big-time throws, 8.6 average depth of target, 17 drops, and 20 sacks. Another thing I want to throw out there are rushing touchdowns inside the 10. These are scoring drives. So when you get a rushing touchdown inside the 10, it doesn't go into your touchdown column on your stat sheet. No, it goes into the fact that it is a scoring drive. So if you look, Matthew Stafford in 2021 had 6 of those. In 2022, he had 2 of them. And this year he has a career high with the Rams, 10 times. The ball's been given to a running back and he scored a touchdown rushing the ball inside the 10. So those are passing touchdowns that Stafford doesn't have. That's why he has 9 touchdowns on the season. So let's get into this. Why do I bring this up? Well, I think it's fair. We've now seen a sample size, a 9-game sample size of each of the 3 seasons Matthew Stafford has played with the Rams. And I'm hearing constantly how he has lost a step. Here's the deal. Okay, 2022 completion percentage wise is on par with 2021. That's interesting, right? 2021 he's throwing down the field more. 2022 he's not. 7 average depth of target, and you have an 8.5 average depth of target, 8.5 yards, of course, for 2021. He has way more touchdowns in 2021. I mean, we're talking 23 to 10 and 9. So clearly they used him way more to score touchdowns. Of course, there were also 6 rushing touchdowns inside the 10. They were just a better offense. They were on the field more. They scored more. That's one of the best offenses of McVay's career. So that explains that. Now, same interceptions, same total number of interceptions through the first 9 games. Matthew Stafford, 8 this year. Matthew Stafford, 8 last year. 1 fewer touchdown. More yards in 2021, more in 2023 than last year. So Stafford's thrown more yards this year than last year. In 2021, he's thrown, I think, 400, we'll say, around 400 more than he has this year. The passer rating is by far the best. It's among the best in all of the NFL through the first 9 games of his first season with the Rams in 2021. It's worse in 2023, and 2022 it's better than 2023. He has more big-time throws, though, and this is where I start to question what is being thrown out there. He has more big-time throws in 2023 than any of the seasons in the first 9 games. So keep that in mind. He's had more big-time throws this year than he had in 2021, 4 more to be exact, and he has 5 more than 2022. He's got 20 big-time throws. That is tied for 7th in the league right now. Okay, so worth mentioning. Actually, I believe it's tied for 5th, not 7th. So definitely worth mentioning. How about fewer turnover-worthy plays than any of them? Now, this is interesting. So Stafford actually has fewer turnover-worthy plays with the Rams in his 3rd year this year, the year that everyone's saying he's starting, not everyone, but a lot of people are saying he's starting to fall off, okay? He's got 5 fewer than last year, which makes sense. He has better protection. He's got 2 fewer than the Super Bowl season, where he had 41 touchdowns. That's interesting. Okay, let's move on. How about the drops? He has 17 this year. He had 8 fewer last year, which is very interesting when you think about it. And he had 16 in 2021. So he's had more drops this year than any season before. Drops, of course, are when a receiver has the ball and just drops the ball. If it's right on target, it's a drop. If it's, batted at the line of scrimmage and a quarterback, or, it's batted at the line of scrimmage and a receiver has a chance to get their hands on it, that's not a drop. So very clear on the receiver to get a drop. So this is the second most times he's been sacked, which is 20. He had 12 in the first season, 29 last year. The average depth of target fascinates me. This year, his average depth of target is 8.6, which is the most in his Rams career, which is actually more than 8.5, which he had in the Super Bowl season, and 7 last year. So now that I've put that all out there, what do we make of this? What do you take away? These are just numbers, right? How do we even quantify what any of this even means? Like, what do we take away from this? Well, this is what I'll say, okay? Looking at the numbers, the completion percentage, we'll just go down the line. Completion percentage is higher in 2021. Okay. It's higher in 2021. Why is it so high in 2022? He's getting the ball out quicker. So you're talking about lower boom rate, a lower boom rate and a lower bust rate for those throws. Because if you don't have the protection, and there were all sorts of, guys coming in and out of the offensive line, Matthew Stafford's having to get rid of that ball quickly. Because he's getting rid of it quicker, he can't go deep down the field, right? So those are the fewer risk potential. That's the fewer risk potential. There's not as much risk potential as the others because you're not going deep down the field. So these are higher probability throws to complete, and so that's why the completion percentage is as high as it was in 2022 and on the same par as 2021. His 10 touchdowns in 2022, 23 in 2021, and 9 this year. What do I take away from this? Well, I mean, no one in their right mind should say he was better last year than he is this year. Okay. Also, no one in their right mind should say 2021 he wasn't as good as he is right now, because that's also not true. But somewhere in the middle, 9 touchdowns doesn't tell the full story. You have 10 rushing touchdowns inside the 10. Okay. That's a big deal this season. A lot of those opportunities, they've just run the ball. Can't hate on him for it. Think it's the smart move. But, Stafford had a couple drop touchdowns in the end zone yesterday, to be fair. That's kind of been his season. Now, 2021, 23 touchdowns deeper down the field. You got Deshaun Jackson for half the season. And going up to this point, you have Deshaun Jackson for most of these 9 games. You have Van Jefferson as your 4th receiver. You have Tyler Higbee playing much better football than he's currently playing. You have Cooper Kupp. You have Robert Woods. Robert Woods hasn't gotten hurt yet. So in this case, you still have Robert Woods, you have a fully healthy offense. The offensive line does not go through any sort of injury hampering them in the first 9 games. So it's the same offensive line, gelled and everything. The running backs, they're the same. I mean, Sony Michel's not playing as much, but really it's Darrell Henderson. This year it's been Kyren Williams for the first 6, and then now it's Darrell Henderson and Royce Freeman and even some Zach Evans in there. So there's that. So I think 2021, the 23 touchdowns, Stafford building a rapport with these guys, being able to work out with them in the offseason, in training camp. Cooper Kupp missed the beginning of or the end of training camp, missed the beginning of the season. He's working with Puka Nacua, a 5th-round rookie who has turned it on, and he's on pace to break the rookie record. He's working with Tutu Atwell, who doesn't have a ton of experience as much as I love the guy. It's not like working with Robert Woods, Deshaun Jackson, Cooper Kupp. Deshaun Jackson is one of the more dominant big play threats in NFL history. I mean, if you go back and you look, he's averaging, 20 yards per catch? It's insane. Robert Woods, very well-rounded. Cooper Kupp was ascending. Tyler Higbee was playing good football. So that's a thing. Tyler Higbee hasn't played good football this year. For whatever reason, he's struggled. That's a big hole on the offense, okay? So I think that has a lot to do with the touchdowns. Then the yards, 2,771 yards in the first 9 games for Matthew Stafford in 2021. He's got 2,260 yards in 2023, and he had 2,087 yards in 2022. Well, yards are interesting. I think Sean McVay could not wait to use Matthew Stafford when they got him for Jared Goff. So there was a lot more passing than maybe they needed to. I think he just got, honestly, a little bit carried away. I mean, it's the idea of like, hey, I have this thing, I want to use it. It's like you splurged on a luxury item and then you don't use it. It's like, why would I not do that? So that's what I think kind of happened. We saw more passing. We saw more deep passing, taking advantage of it. You also have all these weapons. And there were some decent teams the Rams had to play, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at SoFi Stadium, who were defending Super Bowl champions. So you had to have the deep passing. 2022, however, your deep passing isn't really there. And the reason the yards are in the 2000s is because you're passing because you're down in the games. 2023, they've been more pass happy. They haven't really run the ball as much as they probably should. And there are games where you can go back and you can look, they've run the ball well, but make no mistake about it, Sean McVay wants to be a pass-first team. He can say he wants to be balanced all he wants, but if you have Matthew Stafford playing at the height of his career and you have Kyren Williams playing at the height of his career, you're more likely to see Matthew Stafford taking advantage of that. You're more likely to see Sean McVay wanting to throw the ball instead of running the ball, and that's a big thing there. So that's why I think the yards are the way they are. He's having a good year, in terms of yards. The passer rating, okay? Passer rating is 80.8. Because you have to, factor in the completion percentage. He's taking more shots down the field, higher risk opportunities, lower probability throws, as opposed to 2022, where you see that passer rating is at 87.4. And now when you factor in 2021, it definitely helps the weapons he had, the consistency on the offensive line, and all the time he had to throw. But it also helps because the passer rating is going to be based on completion percentage, touchdowns, interceptions, all that. And he did a great job of not only throwing deep down the field, but he threw deep down the field without really a lot of risk. I mean, only 6 interceptions, 23 touchdowns, and a high completion percentage rate. That's going to help your passer rating. That was among one of the best in the league at 111 going into week 10. So that's something to keep in mind. Right now, 59.2 completion percentage. He's taking more risks than he did in 2022. He has more, time in the pocket than he did last year. But it does seem like Matthew Stafford, for the most part, or at least Sean McVay for the most part, is trying to call it kind of similar to 2021, and he doesn't have the weapons or the offensive line to do so. So I think that's what we're seeing, and the average depth of target being at 8.6 to Matthew Stafford's first year, where it was 8.5 the first 9 games, kind of tells you. I mean, last year 7. You went away from what your original plan was for your offense last year because the offensive line forced you into a hole. You have to run this offense, and this is the only way you can really do it. This is the only way you can get the ball out. You don't have time to take long drops. You don't have time to have these long developing plays. And to be honest with you, I don't think they have time to really do that anyway this year, but they continue to show you that they want to do those long developing plays like they did in 2021 and 2022. They could not do it. So Sean McVay is kind of reverting back to 2021 in a sense, but the offensive line isn't as good. The weapons aren't as consistent, and there have been some injuries. And again, it's just not the same team. I mean, you're like the defense, I thought, they've played really well, I think, this season, all things considered. They're not 2021. They're not the team that's going to go out and get some sacks and, get some, forced fumbles and interceptions. There have been some interceptions this year, but not on the level of the way the defense was able to kind of step up in 2021. And that's something that you need to be, mindful of. So now we move on to big time throws, and he's got 20 this year, 15 last year, and 16 in 2021. Well, here's the thing about big time throws. It is based on, what is a big time throw? It's like the level of probability. It's the tight window throw. It's not, I don't have to throw as many big time throws in 2021 because I got DeSean Jackson, I got Van Jefferson, I got Cooper Kupp, and I got Robert Woods, and I have Tyler Higbee. Okay. I have to throw a little bit more this year because as great as Puka Nakua's been, and as much as I love Tutu Atwell, and Cooper Kupp's great and all, it hasn't been smooth sailing. And we saw that yesterday, right? We see that Seahawks defense. We see Trey Brown. We see Woolen. We see Witherspoon, and how they were able to really shut down those receivers deep downfield. Because of that, now Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford have a tougher job. And mainly Matthew Stafford. So these become tighter window throws. These become big time throws. And that's what we're seeing. And that's the same thing about last year, why they had 15 last year, almost as many as they did in 2021. Stafford had a lot of open targets in 2021. 2022, not as much. You have Allen Robinson, you have Cooper Kupp, and then after that, Van Jefferson was banged up. So there's a lot of different things that are going on. Ben Skoranek, Brandon Powell. So there's not as much separation. Therefore, there's more big time throws. This year, he's raised the bar. And while he has to have, 20 big time throws, he still made those. These are big time throws made. These aren't big time throws attempted. So I think that's a very key point. And then turnover worthy plays is fascinating because what you're saying to me is that he had 12 last year, 9 in the Super Bowl winning season in the first 9 games. Very big caveat here. We're just talking about the first 9 games, and 7 turnover worthy plays this year. Okay. So turnover worthy plays are anything where you put the ball in harm's way and the defense should come away with an interception. Basically, interceptable passes if you're a quarterback. So look at 2021. First 9 games, he averages 1 turnover worthy play a game. Now, that's interesting because, and some of this could be carelessness. Some of this could be Sean McVay, like when he's throwing it up there to DeSean Jackson, I believe, against Arizona, and DeSean Jackson doesn't really make a play on the ball. It just gets picked off. Just kind of throwing it up because he can. You feel great. You're an undefeated football team. You're a Super Bowl contender. You got your quarterback. Throw it up there. So 9 turnover worthy plays. This is obviously interceptable passes. 2022, this goes up to 12. Now, why could this go up to 12? Well, the Rams being down in these games, feeling like you're on the brink of disaster, not able to really take off and show what your offense can do. Issues on their offensive line, very small margin for error, very small number of opportunities you have to score. I can understand Stafford trying to force it in there and make these plays that aren't there. So you see 12 in the first 9 games last year. And then in 2023, he's got 7. So he's got more big time throws, meaning the coverage is tougher. He's not getting the separation that he got in 2021, and he's making fewer mistakes. So that doesn't really support any concept that this guy's falling off, so to speak. Then his average depth of target, like we talked about, is the highest of his career. So is that him wanting to go deep down the field? Is that Sean McVay? I think it's a combination. The drops, 17. 16 in 2021 and 9 in 2022. So he's had more drops this year. So he's been arguably, I mean, you could make this argument, right? He's making fewer mistakes. He's making bigger time throws than any time he's ever had to, with the Rams the first 9 games. He's being sacked at a decent clip. Like he's not got perfect pressure, but perfect protection. And so he's had to operate around that. And he's had more drops than ever. So let's be honest with ourselves. That's not a quarterback that's falling off. Yes, I understand the touchdowns and all that. Okay. I get it. The 23 touchdowns, even if you gave 10 of those rushing touchdowns, you give them all to Stafford throwing them inside the 10, you'd only have 19 touchdown passes. But here's the thing. It's different. Now, what begs the question is, what is causing this? Why are his stats lying to us? Why does he have 9 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, but he has 20 big-time throws? He's got 7 turnover-worthy plays. Well, part of it, I do believe, is that when you look at the Rams' offense without Cooper Kupp in the first 4 games, the Rams had more of an identity, and now they don't. And I don't know if Kupp plays this week. I kind of believe he's going to, but it's not, hey, dismiss Cooper Kupp, trade him away, get rid of him, he doesn't fit. It's make it work, make it fit, because he's too good to just basically only use him. You got to try to find other ways to get other guys involved. And it does beg the question, and I saw there was a YouTube commenter who put this out there, and I already forgot who it was, but I appreciate it if you're watching this. Begs the question, trading Van Jefferson for hardly anything. Was that a good idea or a bad idea? They're like, would that come back to bite you? I don't know. He was the clear out guy. Maybe he was making things easier for Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua. I don't know. But what I do know is that this is not the same offense as 2021. You don't have Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Deshaun Jackson, Van Jefferson, Tyler Higbee, and so forth. You don't have that. So because you don't have that, Stafford has to raise the bar. He's not getting wide open targets. You're not scheming guys open on the level you were in 2021. I'd like to see more play action, but I really do believe that what we can take away from this is that Stafford has not fallen off, despite the injuries, and they've been brutal and they've been scary. Stafford is the same quarterback that we saw in 2021. Is he as good as 2021? I don't know. I need to see him with all sorts of weapons. But I think it's fair to say he hasn't fallen off. He's not washed. He's 35 years old. He's the oldest active quarterback available right now. But he continues to elevate. He continues to elevate his game. That fourth quarter, that was one of the best fourth quarters any quarterback played this week, okay? And it had to happen. He was great. He had his best game when his best was required. I mean, look, it wasn't a perfect game by any stretch, but in the fourth quarter, consider that the best thing that we've seen all year because he needed that. They needed that. Otherwise, we're having a completely different conversation on a Monday. So, look, completion percentage isn't great. Touchdown interception ratio, not great. Passer rating, not great. Yards, I don't mind it. I don't think it's bad. The sacks, drops are ridiculous. Average depth of target is among the top. Big time throws, top 5 in the league. 7 turnover-worthy plays near the bottom of the league. That's a good thing. What do I take away from it? Stafford is fine. He needs I mean, and this is how I truly feel, and this is why I've been saying left tackle in the draft. He needs a bona fide left tackle that's going to, protect his blind side. They need to get back to where they were. Sean McVay has reverted back to 2021. He's still trying to run kind of that same type of offense. Sure, they've changed up the run game a little bit, but the passing plays, it's the same thing. Long developing passing plays, although there's not enough underneath stuff. And I think a big issue for Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford is that the tight end position is a need in this offense. And right now, Tyler Higbee, as much as I love him, I'm happy he got his bag and whatnot, but Higbee has been an anchor weighing that unit down. If he's not going to do it, Put in Bryson Hopkins, put in Davis Allen, hell, put in Hunter Long. Someone has to step up. This offense needs a tight end, okay? Bottom line, they need a tight end to be able to get open, be able to take those tight end screens, be able to have the underneath stuff, be able to be the check down. There's not enough checkdowns, as I've said consistently. There's too many long developing plays. And even when the offensive line is protecting well, this team isn't creating enough separation like 2021, and it's leading to Stafford having to run and scramble out of the pocket more than he's ever done. It's leading to Stafford taking these sacks, leading to him having to make plays and create. And unfortunately, he's not getting credit for that. It's still the same. So hopefully this video kind of sheds some light. He's really not playing that bad. The stats are lying. The film indicates it. He's had his moments. He's had some bad throws. He's had some mistakes. But in the grand scheme of things, when you add everything up, Matthew Stafford is still him. He's still the guy. He's not falling off. They don't need to go out and get a quarterback to start right away. If they keep him upright, he'll be the starting quarterback for the next 3 years, and I don't see a drop-off anytime soon. When you see the throws he was able to make, that one to Puka Nacua, the one he threw to Cooper Kupp, by the way, Kupp has to catch that on the free play. He's just not getting enough love, and I'm hoping that this video will kind of change that and will shift the narrative, because as I broke it down, he has more big-time throws in tougher assignments. He's succeeding more than he did in the other 2 seasons, and he has fewer turnover-worthy plays. That doesn't quite fit the argument that this guy's falling off. But what are your thoughts? Do you think Matthew Stafford is falling off? Do you disagree? Do you agree? Did I change your mind? Did I not change your mind? Let me know in the comments section below. But I'm Jake Ellenbogen. And until the next thought-provoking video, I'll see you guys soon. Later, folks.
Start playing Pick'em or Weekly Fantasy for any sport today, Jake. Users will receive a 100% deposit match up to $100 if they use promo code OTE at sign up. Start playing Pick'em and Weekly Fantasy Football today with Underdog Fantasy.
Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.